We love you, ladies. There is nothing that you have to consider or question. We have loved you since the time of your creation. Yet, I think that the hardest conversation that we need to have is based on this. Not all men are built for monogamy. Some men are simply tailor made and to be with one of you, while there are others that are simply not. This is the final piece that we need to address in order to restore the duality of our relationship as men and women. This is not an endorsement to say that it is okay for men to cheat or that we should be allowed to cheat. Prior to us being enslaved in this nation, the ability to have more than one wife was more common than that of monogamy. This is a practice that was well known within our culture and was practiced by our ancestors. Many of us unintentionally engage in it today, yet it is being used in a negative way. Today, instead of having multiple wives, many of us have multiple mothers of our children. And we have embraced the ways of others, and it has done severe damage to our culture and, more specifically, our communities. Let's take a moment to break this down. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. King's Court is officially in session. Like always, I got to give a big shout out to the frequency for allowing me to be able to come and bring the King's Court over so that I might be able to share this time with you. I definitely got to thank the lady of the building, Miss Lady Latina, or not for giving me the opportunity, giving me the voice to be able to speak to you on this day. And I can't, without good standings, go without giving a big shout out and a thank you to 420 as well, or not, because quite frankly, without him, I wouldn't be speaking right now. Because all the equipment that he's running, I know nothing about. But it was a great weekend. I hope everybody had fun over the weekend and this extended 3-day weekend, which means some of y'all are on your way back to work right now as we speak. Look, if you missed the book release party, you just missed out because we had a blast in there. We had a blast. It was great being able to see everyone come out, being able to meet some of the viewers, sign books. The discussion was on point, which quite frankly is leading to the discussion that we're going to be having for the next couple of shows. I don't know how many, but I'm definitely going to take my time breaking this thing down. But it was great. I gotta say thank you to Club Tip for allowing us to bring the King's Court over there. I'm gonna tell y'all now, the way it's looking, that was not the last time. We might make this thing something that we keep going and keep doing over a nice period of time. I got to give a shout out to Pastor Kevin as well, and send him a special thank you as well over at GMAP1 that is now going to be picking up the podcast and taking it to some other places as well. Definitely appreciate him believing in what it is that we're actually doing over here. So definitely got to give him a shout out and a thank you. But I'm going to tell y'all now, if you haven't pulled out pen and paper on any of these podcasts, today is going to be the day. Today is the day you need to grab pen and paper. I'm going to issue my apologies and all that other good stuff before we start. But you already know what it is. If you're at work right now, go ahead into your office, shut the door, turn this thing on. If you don't have an office, go ahead and put your ear pods in or whatever it is that you have to where you're not going to be too noisy. Turn this thing on so we can get into it. If you're at home with the kids, and I believe everybody is out of school now, or not, either use them older kids to watch the younger ones or turn something on. to keep their attention for the next couple of hours because we are definitely about to deep dive. And this is one of them, we're going into the rabbit hole. So the topic for today is a need for multiple wives. Yes, we're going to be breaking this thing down. It stems from Thursday night, or not. The question was asked. I tried to start laying the foundation, and just ran out of time. And so I promised that I would pick it up now, and that's what we're gonna do. You already know what it is. We gotta handle business. We gotta handle business. So let me go ahead before we go pay some bills. Let me go ahead and issue my apologies and stuff now, ladies. Especially to my married women, I'm going to apologize now. Because this is one of those conversations that, quite frankly, a lot of people stray from. They run from. But the reality of it is that there is a necessity for this. And we're going to deep dive into what that necessity actually is. Now, once we start having this conversation, and if this conversation comes up, especially within your marriage, there are a few things that you're going to go through. First thing you're going to feel is anger. That's the very first thing that you're going to feel is anger. And from that anger, you are going to feel like you're not enough. You're going to start to question everything there is about the relationship that you actually have. And this is okay. It's a part of the process. Then some of you are going to go to crossroads. You're going to be like, nope, I'm not having it, I'm gone. You're going to throw away however much time, effort, and energy that you actually invested for no reason. For no reason. Good morning, Miss Yolanda. I see you in there. But for some of you, you're going to be curious. You're going to want to do some research. The research and stuff that you find out there is really, you're going to see some stuff that is negative. You're going to see some stuff that is positive. It's just literally based off of the experience of the individuals that actually went into it. Which is part of the reason why we're having this discussion, because it is something that is practiced. It is something that has been practiced, from pretty much the beginning of time. But how it is utilized nowadays is not always in a positive way. So it is something that needs to be corrected. And it deals directly with the core of us. The core pieces of our actual relationship between men and women. But from there, in the midst of doing your research, some of y'all are going to understand it. Other people are not going to understand it. Some of you will get it. Be like, man, this is great. I understand this. And you're going to be accepting of it. Or you're going to have others that's not going to want to have it whatsoever. And we're just talking about off of the conversation. We're not talking about actually going out there and initiating, trying it, or anything of that nature. We're talking about literally off of the conversation. Then you're going to go through several different emotions. I'm going to tell you now, when this conversation comes up, whatever issues you have within your relationship is going to float to the surface. It's going to float to the surface. It's going to try every aspect of your relationship. Things that normally you wouldn't even pay attention to, you're going to start paying attention to. But it's a good thing, because it is also a process, because in the midst of those things floating to the top, it's going to force you to correct them. It's going to force you to correct them. then from there, what you're going to find is the way that you used to brag and talk about your husband, things of that particular nature, you're going to become fearful now. You're going to become fearful because you know that with that thought process and with that concept, that every time you brag on him, you bring value to him in the eyes of others. And that thought is going to be in the back of your mind saying to yourself, man, I do not want to share this joker. I can't let him be valuable in the eyes of others. And some of you will make the mistake trying to devalue his worth and what it is that he's been doing for you for however long. Which is a slippery, slippery slope. But eventually, you will get to the point where you will understand. I'm not saying that it will be done. I'm saying where you will understand. And all those emotions and stuff that you had prior to that particular point, you will, at some period point in time, let it go. We'll let it go. I'm also going to go ahead now and apologize to those that have different beliefs and things of that particular nature, because quite frankly, how this thing runs nowadays is based off of what it is that you actually believe. You have Christians that do it one way, and you have Muslims that do it another, you have Hebrews that do another, then you have those that are just spiritual that operate and function completely different. I'm going to tell you now, in the midst of our discussion, I'm not going to address any of those. We're going straight to the core, which is within nature. Which is within nature. As I always said, nature is that thing that the Most High, the Creator, the universe, whatever you call your higher power, has given us to be able to look at and see when we have strayed too far. And yes, we are a part of nature. It is our job to till the land. And that land helps take care of us. The trees that we grow helps cleanse the air that we breathe. The plants that we grow help to nourish our body. Even the feces that comes from out of us, if used properly, will help within nature. But we're going to deep dive into this. We got to go ahead and pay some bills right now. But we'll be back, and the King's Court will officially be in session. All right? King has spoken. We'll be right back. And we are back. Man, we have the gracious queen in the building, Miss Lady.
Hey guys, I actually wanted to, good morning. I wanted to come on a different term. I know last time I came I was a little abrasive. So I wanted to come a little bit good, more vibes, more,
That's what's up.
Good vibes, good energy.
We got to pick up from where we left off on Thursday. The topic of discussion, I'll probably be talking about this for a good little while, because there's no way that I'm going to have this type of discussion and not make sure that I hit it from the core, lay the foundation, and then build the house.
I think that's the only fair way to do this, because what we're about to jump into, that part. So it's going to be a wonderful topic, though. We need everybody's input, honest input. We don't need everybody's you think everybody wants you to say, just real honest comments, and seriously. And this is not a game. This is people's lives. And this is actually, polygamy is done all over the world. It's a common thing. It's just not common in the United States.
Yep.
So it is not like it's an abnormal thing. It's just abnormal to have this conversation here in America. But it goes all over in every Muslim home or
Christian nation.
Yeah, that part too. But That's how it goes.
So, what I was attempting to do, or starting to do on Thursday, was lay the
Start some
foundation.
shit.
Lay the foundation. Um, like I was saying during the introduction, you know, it really, when it comes to this topic, is based off of what it is that you believe. You have Christians that look at it one way. You have the Islamic culture that looks at it one way. You have the Hebrew culture that sees it one way. And then you have that spiritual culture that sees it a completely different way. But in order for everyone across the board to be able to understand it, we have to look at the core of it. We have to look at the core of it. And in order to see the core, we have to look at nature. We have to. Because even the rules of how this thing is supposed to go literally can be found in nature. And this is where some of the controversy and stuff is going to come in. But the thing about it is, you're not about to argue with me. You're going to argue with nature. You're going to argue with nature. So the topic of discussion today is the need for multiple wives. Just that within itself.
Oh wait.
Just that within itself. To say that there is a necessity for multiple wives is controversial in itself. Because you're going to have a lot of people out here that believes something completely different. So we're going to dive into it. And I'll be quite honest with everyone. I'm not going to say every discussion that we have had, but I have been working my way up to this point for a while. The only thing is, I got spared into it. And I'm not going to blame nobody but myself, because I was the one that made the statement. So the statement that I made last Thursday before we got off the air was this: there is a man out there for every woman. There's a man out there for every woman.
We loved that statement, FYI. We was with you up till
But
the butt.
that man might be married. He might have a wife already.
Now, some people might argue and be like, God ain't gonna send you somebody else's husband as your mate. You know, some people might say that. Like, you know, I've seen memes and I've seen conversations where it's like, why would God send you somebody else's husband for your mate?
Which is the reason why I love nature, because guess what? The same way he created us, he created nature as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that thing that he has given us to be able to look at when we stray a little bit too far. Like you said, this is something that has been going on since the beginning of time, and is practiced in other cultures.
And FYI, we practice a ghetto generic version of it.
And we do.
With men and women, we're just getting ripped off as women because we're not holding men accountable.
Exactly.
But that's the reality. The reality is, though, we're doing it already. You're a side chick. You're the one he's calling because you know he's got a girl. You know he's got a wife, usually. We can play stupid all we want, but a lot of women, you'll know, and I'm just going to be the honest one.
Walmart sold side chick t-shirts.
Okay, well, there you go. You know what I mean? We were joking, but there's songs. No, really, honestly. And there's songs about it, and there's women out here that's like, I'm only side chick material. Like, I'm not a wifey. I just want to be the other woman. And they're fine with that. I respect that completely as well, because that's actually a mindset.
Yep.
That's a one for polygamy.
Yep.
But she just don't. But she just doesn't.
Happens.
She just don't know how to apply it. She just don't know how to apply it. So we're gonna get into a lot of things.
We're gonna change a lot of narratives as well. Because this is a narrative that needs to be changed as well. Because polygyny. This is what I'm gonna say. You have polygamy, which is the umbrella, and then you have polygyny, which aligns with nature, and then you have polyamory, polyandry, and all these other things that have evolved from it that are
too many polys.
Yeah. But we're going to focus on that one that aligns with nature, and really that's the only one that we need to focus on, because in the midst of talking about it, you're going to see what the rest of them
Yeah, we're about to have fun with this. If you just joining us, we appreciate everybody. This is The Frequency. I'm Lady Latina. This is King, and we talking about his book, Can I Be the Man? This is just really, really important. We had a discussion. We started Thursday. He had a book signing event. It was awesome. Shout out to Club Tilt for that.
Yes.
It was. I'm surprised we didn't come in here talking about that, but he wants to jump right into it as usual.
I did.
Oh, okay. I was late. Don't talk about me. Anyway, I was late. But anyway, the event was so awesome that the question about polygamy sprung up there as well.
Yeah.
So it's not something we're just pulling out of the sky like, hey, let's just talk about something. No, these are conversations that women and men are having in our homes, because the reality is there's one man to every 4 women. You can do the count. That's what the numbers are looking at right now for all of us. That's because half our men are incarcerated, half of our men are LBGYN now, honestly, and then half of them are passing away or on drugs. I mean, that's what we're looking at numbers. So, I mean, I'm forget feelings. I'm looking at, you know what I'm saying, real numbers. And
It's on
there's
the
no
rise.
man here,
It's
hardly.
on the rise. I'm seeing
It-
more and
it's-
more photos
yeah.
of a man with 2 women
Well,
or 3 women. It's
But
on the rise.
if we're gonna
and
do
they're
it
married,
though,
not just women.
but
they're
if
all
you're
married.
gonna do it, and these men are doing it, these women are doing it. You're actually engaging in it when you're a side chick. You just
You
don't
see
know
how
it.
much money they make.
But no, forget all of that. Get some benefit from it, ladies.
There
Get some
is.
benefit from it. That's all we're saying. And no, I'm not talking about a paycheck, because some women only get $20. Another woman will get $130,000.
But as a
Another
unit-
no. But what I'm saying is
As a unit, they're successful.
no. Yeah, together they are. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, women, we're selling ourselves short because we're screaming about a side chick, or we're screaming about $40, or we're screaming about not want to be bothered with him and this and that. We're putting rules now and regulations to something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's gonna bother people more than not having no rules. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
We're trying to say, look, we're trying to bring some honor and some respect back to the families and what we created for ourselves.
Exactly.
And you all want to fight us, but hey, that's not true. Yes, it is, Susie. You was just at the club knowing he got a girlfriend. You saw him on Facebook, still talking to that man. Stop playing. And I know. So, the games and the pretending that things aren't for real like it is out here, it is. Right now, you're looking at sexual diseases now up to the rise. It's like, it's crazy in the Springs.
Yeah.
So, get protected and get checked. That's really important stuff. I'm just FYI. But yeah, King, there's a lot to talk about when you talk about polygamy. And that's the overall.
Yeah. So, first thing we're going to attack is the necessity for it. Like I said, you're going to have people out there that's not going to agree with me. That is fine. I have no issue with it. But by the time we are done, we're going to see how everything goes.
You can at least see our point by the time we're done.
Yep.
Okay, and let me throw in my little credentials. I've been Muslim for about 30 something years. I'm not giving you my whole age, but 30 something years. I have been in polygamy 2 times. I have been a first wife for about 12 years, and then I was a second wife for about 4.5 years, under Islam, and so that I can say gives me enough credential where I feel like I can speak on it with open mind, open heart. Am I against it? No. Do I see the need for it? Of course. Do I feel the need for it? No, because I'm a woman. So it's just what it is. But, I'm still going to look what's the betterment of my community, what's the betterment of my family, what's the betterment of my children. So, and being fair with myself and being in front of God, because first and foremost, that's where it all goes. Yeah.
Okay.
It sucks, but it's a need for it, King.
It definitely is.
And it sucks for women more than men, but men say them. After men get in it, they say it sucks for them worse. It's true.
Okay, so the other statement that I
So,
made,
okay.
is that there are some men that are tailor-made for monogamy.
Mhm.
There are other men that
Agreed.
are tailor-made for polygyny or multiple wives. Key word is wives. I didn't say baby mamas. I didn't say side chicks, mistresses, anything of that particular nature.
A cousin or a best friend, yeah, those ones
Yeah.
too. We talking about those ones too. We
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and the reason that I say that is because one of the narratives that we have to place in the foundation is that with this comes responsibility. That is the whole point, is responsibility. Now, understanding that when you allow yourself to become I hate saying baby mama, so I'm gonna say mothers of of a man's child that you're not married to, you sell yourself short, because his responsibility is to that child, not to you. not to you. So you'll sold yourself short. But part of the issue is that we have allowed this concept to be stripped from our culture, and so you're not even realizing that you have that ability.
And you have that ability, and then on top of everything else, the conversation. It's so sad that we've come to a place where a conversation like this is weird. But you talking about how he got a girl, but that's okay because I'm finer than her and I'm badder than her and I'm gonna take it. That's okay. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just so far where we come. Again, this is a practice that's been done many thousands of years, way before us. It's not a concept new to any other place in the world except here. Because, like, they practice polygamy everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially in poorer countries as well. The reason being is that 3 incomes is better than 1, or 2 incomes, or that there's child care that needs to be given in the home where there's 2 or 3 women, or a woman and a man can work, whichever ones they choose. And then the sexual, there's a sexual aspect too that, you know what I'm saying, is there as well. Not every woman wants to be bothered every day by the man. You know what I mean? There's gonna be our part about it too. We can speak about.
Yeah.
Why there's some pros to that.
I'm glad you brought that piece.
There's pros to that.
I'm glad you brought the sexual piece up, because
it's true.
That's one of the first narratives out there that we need to strip real quick. Because the first thing that a lot of women think about when this subject is brought up is that we just want to have the ability to sleep with multiple women.
Well, the part of that's true.
The reality of it is we already have that ability.
Okay, the ability is given. You're right. The ability you have. Oh, you're so clever with your words today. The ability you do have, King. But go ahead. Yeah.
But what I am saying is, and that when we talk about another wife, responsibility is with that. If I just simply want to go out here and mess around, I could. For as much traveling and stuff that I do, or not, I could go out here and have a couple of one night stands, be fulfilled, come back home and act like nothing ever happened.
That is true. And you know what? A lot of you men do that, and you avoid telling your wife. Of course, you're gonna hurt her. You don't want a divorce. You don't want her to leave you, all that, or a girlfriend, whatever.
I don't have to worry about paying no bills. I don't have to worry about taking care of no
You don't even have to worry about calling her back.
Exactly.
You don't even got to call half these women back.
We're talking about no stress whatsoever, stress free.
But then you're stress free, but then she done carried another baggage. Now she got another suitcase. Now she's by herself again, going home to them same bad kids that she tried to run away from the night before. Thinking that them 5 Hennessy's she shot down worked. It didn't, sis. It didn't. It's okay. Been there, done that. So that's what I'm saying. We both have experience, so I think that that's one of the best teachers. And in questions, we got you all as well on our lives, and we appreciate everybody for hopping in and having this conversation with us. It's well needed in our community because we're falling apart. Yes. If you all haven't looked outside lately, we're losing our children, we're losing our men and our women to mental illnesses, to suicides, to drugs, to death. Everybody's looking for an escape, but we're not looking to each other because we're so damaged, King.
I hope that you are receiving these nuggets that she are throwing. And that lady is, everybody call her lady. I call her queen.
Yeah, everybody does.
That queen is actually throwing out here right now because this speaks to the actual need.
Yeah.
The first thing that I'm going to say, the first thing that I'm literally going to put out there is that there needs, hear me when I say, there needs to be a father in every single home. The reason why a lot of us don't agree with that is because our role as fathers has been diminished. But that is part of the reason why a lot of us, both male and female, are very much so underdeveloped.
And confused. King, we are confused. We are confused at our roles. We are confused at our children's roles. We are confused at our husbands and our men's that play pivotal points and roles in our lives. We're confused at that as well. We really don't know half the time as women, and I'm just saying it for half of us because a lot of them I can look at and just tell. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? I don't know your stories per se, but there's certain looks that we give. Like somebody was saying, they had a conversation about a woman's dress and how somebody instantly draws their conclusions from a woman's attire. Well, people can do that about your character as well too. So, there's gauging to a certain extent.
It sure is.
So, to be fair about it, we're not saying all women and all men But there's a good plenty of us out here that need spouses or we need help. We need help.
Yeah, and I know this is not to take away from any of the single fathers or the single mothers that are out there. Y'all are doing great jobs. You are doing what it is that you actually can. But the reality, the hard truth, is that you can only give what it is that you actually have. That masculine energy that son and that daughter actually needs, you don't have the ability to give that.
And that's the truth. And you know what, King, you so, and I hate jumping in, but he's so right sometimes. My son, we just had extreme loss in our family. And I could see my son hurting differently than my daughter. It was like they're the same age. I literally, 7 and 8, literally verbatim. And he held it in. We cried. All the girls, all of us women, we got in our family, we had to release. So we did it around each other where there was positive energy and nobody was there for anything else. My sons kind of sat on the side. They were there with us and they kind of said, of course, but they were so quiet. And then I could see my son just going internal with it without being able. And it wasn't until I went in and I gave him a hug. And he was just started bawling. And it was kind of like that story you had told about giving him permission, but I couldn't say it because I didn't know what to say to him. I knew what to say to my daughters though. So needless to say, he's hanging out with his dad this week.
One thing that I do know is, and it's hard when we start talking about truths, the truth hurts sometimes. But the vast majority of us, especially the ones that didn't grow up in two-parent homes, and some of us that did grow up in two-parent homes are still underdeveloped. We hate to look at it like that, but the thing about it is, if your child didn't start school until 6th grade and is now just learning to read, they are considered to be underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were missing 5 years worth of schooling, really 6 if you include kindergarten worth of schooling. But we don't want to look at it that way. Why? Because nobody wants to be considered a bad parent, a bad mother, or a bad father.
And that word is so scary to use when you say bad, because I don't even think that's fair. I think underdeveloped parent, because the same way that we're going to treat these men and give them this leeway and say, okay, let's try. We're gonna say underdeveloped. Okay, you're gonna give that to the women as well, because
and that's the point. I'm not saying that we are bad. What I'm saying is we don't want to be considered to be bad. But the reality of it is that you don't have all the tools. It's not your fault. It is not your fault that you don't have all the tools needed to be able to provide a completely developed individual. It requires 2. It's a requirement. Every child deserves to see their mother being loved by a man, male or female. And it's even more powerful when that man is their little father. There's a difference. And it's a necessity. It is something that we are lacking and that we are missing. I said the other night, and I'm going to keep saying it, we learn how to love from our mothers, and we learn how to respect from our fathers. Part of the reason why our communities...
Okay, that makes sense. So a lot of single women, that's why we don't know respect. That's why we can't understand respect, because our mothers have loved us. We know what it's like to love one of them bad behind kids. I just did. You know what I'm saying? Loving my kids, boy, want to wring their neck, and we figure out a way still to love them. But respect, why? Because we never were taught it. A lot of us are single, never had fathers in our home. I didn't find my father till I was 27 years old. So that was a whole lot of experiences I went through by myself with my mother. Being single.
And it is a necessity not just for men, young boys, but for girls as well. You learn how to respect yourself from your father.
That's
from
deep.
Your father.
That's deep.
Which is the reason why our communities, I'm not just talking about the black communities, I'm talking about communities across the world, look the way that they
Brown and black communities. We're talking about all colors, because for to say that the Mexicans that would be ridiculous. We got children in cages. Our families are way dysfunctional. We have sexual molestation all going into the families, physical, mental, social, all of that in our families. We don't even talk about it, and that's crazy. At least we're having discussions and you're trying to figure out how to come into your communities. My community still haven't even touched on our real issues.
That is why you are here.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
like
why you
it's
are here.
frustrating, but
My apologies to the ones that's on the live feed right
I'm
now.
sorry,
They are saying that we keep going in and out on the feed. Don't know exactly what's going on. But
we're doing good over here.
Xfinity.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good on mine.
Yeah,
Because even Mixler
Oh.
fucked up. It's the wonderful internet.
It's the internet, guys.
Yeah.
We pay the bills here. I promise.
Yes, we do. We do.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on right now.
Because
We
Sarge
made
even
this.
hit me up and said, "You guys are choppy."
That's crazy. Okay, all right.
But we're gonna figure it out. We're
Ooh,
gonna
the
make
devil
sure.
works, boy. He don't want the
Yeah,
information out. That's
yeah.
okay though.
I'm trying
God
to
wins
tell you.
overall.
I'm trying to tell
That's
you.
right. You're not gonna stop nothing
I'm
now.
trying to tell you.
Sorry.
because
God got
want
this.
want y'all to look at it this way. Look how powerfully we work. Why do you think that so much emphasis has been put on the destruction of our families?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand how powerful we are when we are functioning and operating in the manner in which we are supposed to.
And like everyone else, we're acting like it's foreign. That's the saddest part about it all. We have so much get right to get back to that it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like we and it's okay. I'll be the first one to say it. You know what I'm saying? This is all a get back right. You know what I mean? Mentally getting myself right and preparing myself. But for us to have a conversation about bettering ourselves and explaining why we're doing it, it's just, man.
Yep.
So.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But that is one of the first key pieces that we need to lay with the foundation is that there needs to be a father in every single home. Yes, it is much better when that father is the actual father of the kids. Mm-hmm. But at the stage that we are at right now, we need a father in every single home. Just period.
But we need one that's non-toxic, dysfunctional.
About to get into that, yep.
No,
yeah,
King, because I was gonna say a lot of women are just holding on to trash men right now because they think that's all they have. So I don't want to do that either. That's not fair because we abuse ourselves as women so many times, and we take responsibility for so many things that is not our faults and not our concerns and not our issues, but we do it because that's what we do as women. We carry, that's just the hardest part, King.
To the wives that are out there.
Yeah, to the women that are already doing this, man. We love you. Congratulations. Just stay strong. We love you.
I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about to the wives that are out there holding on tight to their husbands and stuff right now. You're going to be upset with what it is that I'm about to say because you brought up a very good point in reference to there are a lot of toxic. I don't even want to say it. There are a lot of underdeveloped men out there, and that still needs development. So guess what? When you go to apply for a job, what is one of the first things that they look for? Experience, right?
Yeah, of course.
Experience. So when it comes down to this thing that we're talking about in reference to multiple wives, experience plays a part. Your ability to be able to please one woman continuously over the years provides you with a lot of experience, which is the reason why I say if there's a man for you out there, that man just might be married already.
Oh my Lord! Can we rephrase that some other way? It just sounds so goddamn. Can we just say something else?
I don't know.
I know it is what it is, but Lord,
if you come with another doggone way to say it.
Anybody, somebody throw something out here. We got people on live. Throw something out to us.
Until we get to the point where we can help these underdeveloped men and get them prepared for the path to come or not. Guess what? Those men that are out there already doing it and doing it successfully, right? They are the ones that's going to be looked at as being very valuable because they've been doing it. We're talking about active husbands, active fathers within their home. They know it, they understand it. And that's not to say that they are fully developed because I've been with my wife for 12 years. I'm an active father in the home, but I still consider myself to be underdeveloped because there are still things within myself that I am learning, that I'm still trying to grasp. What I am saying is that I do have more experience than a lot of others that are actually out there. So that places value. Places value. Only thing is, we can't just dismiss those ones that are underdeveloped. We have to help them. We have to assist them.
Well, we have to give them role models. You got to give them
Yes.
examples. You have to give them rules and regulations. People do well under rules and regulations. And the thing about, and I hate to just throw Islam in there, but it really just kind of fits. The reason why Islam works so well is it's very logical. All that emotion and all that feeling is out. So when you're dealing with people on a logical level, it makes sense. But emotionally, and that's the other part where as women, it's a struggle for us, and it's actually, like they say, a inner struggle that if you can overcome, where you're just content with whatever God gives you, is a certain level with God you'll be at, right? And that's really attainable, and people really strive for it in this world. There are people out here that really like, I want to be right with God for real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons that she might agree to something like this, or she's poor, or she lost her husband in war, or the people, you know, the communities around her, she's not getting no support, no help. She is tired, she is exhausted. And at this point in it, he's honest enough to say, hey, I have a family, but I'm willing to make you another part of my family. There are conversations like that being done, even in America. I mean, I sat with a few who sat me down like, lady, would you be interested in being in polygamy? You know, as a second wife. I've already done that before, but those are real conversations. Instead of, oh, but I've also had those conversations too. What's up, lady? Can you want to hang out with me and my girl? Like, for real? And some women are selling sell short like that. You know what I'm saying? So, men are out here doing it. It's just, are we going to hold them accountable? They are out here doing it. And some of you women are so silly that y'all think that having a threesome, I'm sorry, y'all think that having a threesome or having a baby or doing whatever he wants you to do on front page or face, whatever that stuff is called, whatever, back page and all that stuff, him wants you to do is love. Is love. Somebody taught you that somebody else's love meant more than your own love for yourself, and that's not true, sis. It's not true. So there's so many things that we can combat with this.
This is the reason why I say the rules and the regulations, you can see even how we're supposed to do it is within nature. You don't see no threesomes and all that other good
There ain't
stuff.
none of that. There's none of those
You don't see
type of
that
stuff.
lying out there with multiple doggone liners out.
And no
cracking.
woman wants that. Don't ever.
At
I don't
all.
care what women. Women are made to be monogamous. Men are made to be polygamous. Look at the makeup of our DNA. I'm like, again, this is all logic. I'm not coming through no emotion. I'm not picking it up out the air. This is all paperwork. You can go back and check. The reality is, women are made monogamous. We are made for one man, maybe because we bring life. You understand? So maybe we're just not made like that. A woman can love one man. One man can love multiple women for multiple reasons. That is true.
Yeah.
Because your dude loves so-and-so, and then he loves you, and then he loves so-and-so. Trust me. On them likes and on them DMs and nobody's catching, and them snaps they doing, trust me, he telling somebody he loves.
Matter of fact, I will break it down to you like this.
Oh, thank you, King.
Every last one of us men love multiple women, either way you look at it.
How about that part?
Either way you look at it.
A breakdown already.
Guess what? I love my wife. I have 2 daughters at home. And another 2 not in the home. I love them. I love my mother.
And your sisters, because they
Yes.
coming to see. Shout out to the sisters. I'm coming to see y'all. I'm coming to meet y'all.
But there's somebody out there that's saying, man, it's not the same. Guess what? I'm glad you said that, because how I would love that other wife is not going to be the same way that I love my wife that is now.
Wow.
So,
good point.
We have the ability to be able to do it. And it is about balance. It is about balance.
Just watch animals in nature.
That's it.
We are animals. People seem to forget that we are animals. Just like the rest of the wild kingdom. We're just smarter.
Okay, well, I'm not so. I'm actually a human
We
with
all-
humanitarian issues and
All
we're trying to.
creatures on the
I'm not
earth
no animal.
run and
but
survive off of instinct.
yeah, well, at some point, but then we become human. You know what I'm saying?
still- like you said, it's a man's
play a role
instinct.
within nature.
Yeah.
We still play a
Definitely.
role within nature.
And yeah, So, but what I will say is that we're not saying this is for everybody, and we're not saying everyone's gonna agree, and we're just but we are saying open yourselves up to something different that could come into our communities, even though it might not be for you. You know what I'm saying? It might be for your neighbor because she got 8 kids and she's tired and she needs some help and she's willing not to give a hell about what the other woman's doing with her man. And when he gets home, it's just what he and her are doing. There are women out there that don't really care. I promise you. They really are focused just on their household, what they're trying to do and get accomplished and what they're doing. And they don't care if he's with somebody else or not because he's going to do it anyway, is the thinking.
Yep.
So they're not wrong as well. So you can have a lot of combinations of people here. And I'm going to jump. And I'm going to jump because I'm still coming from a first wife and a second wife position. So and then I come from now not being with nobody and being single happily and not having none of them worries. So even wanting to jump back into one marriage is like, so then you have that too.
All right, so we gotta take a quick break or not, and in the midst of the break, we're gonna figure out what's going on with these interruptions or not. Again, my apologies to everybody that's out there listening on Mixer or that is on the live feed. Mm-hmm. We're going to get this thing together. That's how you know that this is a conversation that they don't want us to have.
Yeah, because it's healing. It would actually heal a lot of us. And it would, guess what? Can you imagine knowing where your man is going when he leaves your house for real? Oh, he went over to Michelle House. I ain't tripping. I'll see him in a couple hours. I'm just saying, ladies. And that's all he's getting, because the reality, he going to Michelle's house anyway.
Stress is a killer.
FYI. He's going to Michelle's house anyway.
Stress is a killer.
So, just the things we do as women, we put our mind through. And I'm not even saying it's okay. Like I said, I'm coming at like 3 different angles. But I will say that it helps when I was in a position of needing help. So I had somebody stepped in after I had 5 children. I was divorced because I was with my first husband 15 years, so we were together a long time. Situations happen, whatever. And now over it was something basic. But anyway, long story short, when I got married a second time and I became a second wife, it was like it's a whole mindset change. So again, we're dealing with different mindsets because the first wife is going to have a different mindset than the second wife coming into it, and then there has to be respect and stuff established. So there is so many facets of this that.
Like I said, we ain't gonna be able to do it in one conversation.
Oh, not about 5-10 conversations.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing this for a little bit, but we're gonna make sure.
Commercial stuff. We gotta pay bills.
Yeah, because the internet is slow.
Lady gotta pay these bills over here, King. We playing around.
All right, we about to go pay some bills. Take a quick break. We're gonna put the King's Court into recess now.
We'll be back.
We will be right back.
What time we coming back, so I can tell everybody on my life?
We'll be back. 5 minutes we good enough?
All right.
We need 10?
No, yeah, 10.
10 minutes? All right, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes, and we're going to pick the conversation up from there.
Listen to our music. Everybody, please go share the frequency. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're a podcasting, broadcasting, communication, photography station. We do it all. And pretty soon, we're live streaming 24 hours, so we have a music station as well. So tap into us. We appreciate everybody. We're here for the community. We do a lot of community events as well as podcasting, and just taking it up a notch and making us professional as possible. We have engineers already, and we have producers, so we have all that fun stuff. And then people willing to jump in. So do that part. Share it. So we'll see you back in 10 minutes.
All right. And we are back again. We apologize to everybody for the technical difficulties. I did see the internet people drive by. I don't know whether they gonna help get us together.
King, that was the thing. They drove by. They didn't stop, so I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe our signal is coming from somewhere over in this area, just not directly over our building or not. But for those of y'all that are just now joining us, the conversation of today is the need for multiple wives. I know when I say that, a lot of y'all are probably throwing your phones right now, but there literally is a necessity there. Now, this conversation stems from the actual. I'm gonna say it came from my comment that I made before the actual event, which is the reason that sparked it. I'm gonna blame no one but myself. But I made the comment that there's a man out there for every woman. The only thing is that man might already have a wife. That's a hard truth. That is a hard truth. But I also, in making that comment, say that there are men out here that are tailor made for monogamy, but there are also men that are tailor made for multiple wives. Said multiple wives. I didn't say baby mamas. I didn't say mothers of your children. I didn't say mistresses. I didn't say side chicks, jump offs, anything of that particular nature. And the reason being is because with this comes responsibility. Responsibility. Now, for the ladies that's out there saying right now, he just want to be asleep with multiple women. No, that has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Because King's going to bring up a good point. They already have the ability to sleep with multiple women. I think that was really significant for our, as women, mindset. The fact that he's choosing not to, but it really didn't have anything to do about the woman. It had nothing to do about the woman. He's choosing, and not so much your scenario. I'm just saying, in men in general, that was significant that you said I could do it now.
Yeah.
But I'm just choosing not to. So.
With no responsibility, I don't have to worry about
obligations. You don't even got to call the girl back
at all, at all. But with making her my wife, there
accountability.
Is accountability. There's responsibility that comes with it.
All them funny games is over.
Yes. Yes, and quite frankly, we have been selling ourselves short. You say both men and women.
And I think that the games are a part of the reason why these men are still out here playing, because we've allowed them to play many games with us as women. We've holded them no accountability. They don't even half the time, they don't call you back, and you still hitting you up. There's men out here that I promise you, they won't talk to this girl 2 or 3 days straight. Call the girl at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the girl let them in. And been crying to me or her friends about this dude the whole time. He calls her at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then half the time, a lot of these men aren't even claiming you women. They're not even claiming y'all. And y'all are going hard for these men that don't even put you on his Snap, his Facebook, his Instagram. Hell, just be hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Y'all don't even get that.
No title in his life.
You get that 3 o'clock in the morning call.
You have no title in his life.
No.
But you're giving him all of the attributes and the credentials and every other thing else of being a wife. Being a wife.
There are some women out here that's actually loyal. Is actually loyal to the man that's not calling her. He's not consistent. He don't even watch. He don't even know your kids' names. All of them. Okay, for real. And they out here talking, I'm not gonna talk to her. I'm down. I'm down for him, and he don't even call her all day long except at 3 in the morning. And then she's like, I can't go out with you. I'll be like, why? Because he might call. I'm like, oh my God, bro. And they be dead serious. And then they're crying at the end, talking about he didn't love me. No,
that is because
these are true
you didn't
stories.
require him to. You didn't require him to.
Can y'all just be here for the face movements? Can y'all just be here for that?
If, I'm telling you ladies, if you require us to, as Beyonce said, put a ring on it. A lot of the issues and stuff that you have, you would not. You would not.
Wow.
And if it was a requirement that we had to marry you in order to be able to get that good loving that y'all so freely give to us,
so freely,
the cheating and stuff that y'all be worrying about, it's not going to happen. Want to know why? Because I have to make you my wife, which comes with more responsibility. So everything that I'm doing for the 1 or the 2 or the 3 that I already have, I have to be able to do for this one if I want it.
Well, you started saying large numbers. First of all, I know your wife, so you better stop at 2 if you even get that, bro. Don't even try it.
We've had these conversations.
No, seriously. When you say 1 or 2, this is a beginner's podcast. Yeah. So I don't know what King over here talking about. Like he got full numbers on him and stuff, but I'm gonna speak for his wife. We go, we're a beginner's podcast, this is a beginner's concept. This is not for everybody else in the world because they're already like 5,000 years ahead of us in that aspect of protecting their families and maintaining their families and how they build their families overseas. You go But we're talking about here in America. And we're talking about how this is not a common situation, but in order to repair our families, this is one scenario we have to look at, and we
Yes.
have to open up, and we have to examine, and we have to figure out, does it play a part in our lives? It's not for everybody, but there are some women out there that like the fact that he ain't coming home every day, but he paying them bills every day. I'm okay with that. You know, there are some women that are okay with the fact that, yeah, we're claiming each other. You know, she's claiming you as her husband. I'll be claiming you as my husband, whatever scenarios. And I don't have to worry about when it's getting so stressed out. When I'm getting so stressed out that the kids are crying and I can't take a break. But I'm calling you like, look, come and get these kids. And you sitting there and I'm gone. Or she. This is a whole nother level now. Or she helps because you and her become friends. And that I know, y'all. I know that's a lot. I'm not even gonna do that to y'all right now, but it happens.
So we kind of jumping ahead.
I know, sorry, guys.
She
Keep
threw
me-
it out there, so I got to. I have to say something about it, and then I'm gonna swing us back to the whole necessity of it, right? But you talked about how eventually y'all become friends and things of that particular nature, right? And I talk about this in the book.
Later, I mean,
Yep, later on, you have to go to the taboo.
yeah, I'm about to say, you
read
gotta
the
accept some things
So-
first.
Part of the reason, I don't think y'all even understand, ladies, that the reality of it is there's more for you within this than it is for us.
True. To a certain respect, if you can get over the sex, if we can get our minds over that little bitty aspect, and it's a big deal because the society makes it such a big deal. Because you can go to other countries and men and women, like, they'll be married and it's not uncommon for them not to sleep together for like 3 days, 2 days. Like in America, oh my God, you're not sleeping together every day. Oh my God, you know, it's just we focus so much on sex and sexuality, bro. That it's just that's how we think everything.
Yeah, when I first introduced the podcast and talking about this concept, one of the things that I said that some of you will feel in having this conversation, especially if you end up having this conversation with your husband and y'all are discussing these things, first thing that you're going to feel is, one of the first things you're going to feel outside of anger is that you're not enough. When that couldn't be further from the truth. The reality of it is, and I talked about this in the book, is that we are not enough. We are not enough. Now, I have to place a scenario and stuff out there because I'm talking about those men out there that are the sole providers for their home. The men out there that are sole providers for their home or whatnot, most times we don't have the energy nor the time to be able to assist you in the home with those kids. And contrary to popular belief, everyone needs time for self-love. You need that time to be able to get away from those kids, to be able to get away from those responsibilities in the home. And God forbid, if you are out there working and have that on top of that burden on top of you as well, you need that time. And most times we are not enough to be able to provide that to you. So what she's saying right there, that is one of the, I ain't gonna say one of the biggest, but one of the greatest keys that you have.
And it's so true. I'm going to give you one example. My first husband, we were married, 10, 11 years when he was like, I think, for our family, we were getting ready to go to Morocco. And another reason why we were looking into polygamy, she was about 20 years older. So we were in our 20s, early 20s. I was introduced to this young because of Islam. But so it doesn't matter how pretty you are, ladies, or how good. I was great. He'll tell you now, like, she's the best mother, best wife, kept his honor, his dignity. None of it, all of it, I was. So anyway, he says, I need a new wife. I need another one. We talked about it as a family. It was very hard for me. The whole thing was very, very difficult for me to get past because this was my world. He was my everything. We had 5 children together. I never knew nobody else different than what I knew this man to be. And it was hard. Anyway, long story short, I got to a place where me and her had a relationship separate from his, and she was calling me when he was in Morocco one night and didn't come home. I said, "Oh, for real? Oh, let me call him right now." Why are you not at home? I'm at the gym. Your wife is calling me saying you're not at home. You need to be home. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you know in America we don't play the radio over here. So what are you doing? By within 2 seconds, the door at the and she's telling me, no, it's true story. She said, Saeed is at the door. I said, then open it and don't let him running in and out that house that late at night. We don't do that in America. True story. She's Moroccan. She's still with him. Real story. So, you know, you're gonna have each other's back by default if you're both God fearing, if you're both open, if you're both there for something other than yourselves. You're gonna figure it out, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But yeah, that's a real story.
So one of the first things in laying the foundation, as far as it's been a necessity that we talked about before the break, was that there needs to be a father in every home. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about an active father in every home, because the reality of it is, where we live at and the conditions that we live in, not all fathers in the home are active. They are there, but they are not active in the lives of their children. We need active fathers in every single home. Part of the reason why our communities look the way they look, is because there are not enough active fathers in the home. And the thing about it is, the stats prove it. Want to know why? Because as melanated men, we lead the way in being in the lives of our children. But the reality of it is, the type of healing that we need in our community, and the type of activity that we need within our homes, can't be done over the weekend. It can't be done over the summer.
It can't be done at a toxic club. It can't be done sleeping under a toxic woman. It can't be done at a bar. It can't be done under them toxic drugs. You're not gonna find it anywhere other than within here. I swear, you're not gonna find what you're looking for, and that's between you and God. I feel like there's a higher power, so I'm always gonna refer to God.
Yep.
So if you're not having a conversation with yourself and God, you're definitely looking everywhere else, and you're not gonna find it. You're gonna find their interpretations of it, and then that's how you get misled.
Yep.
So
what we need, what our children need, is consistency. Consistency. Being able to see their mother be loved by a man.
And then you know what's crazy?
Consistent.
The families, the children, because I had 5 children from a previous marriage. So I was with him, my first husband, for 5 years. When I married my second husband, it was out of need. My first husband, he had got locked up. So they were talking about 17 years. So I'm 5, married, all these years. I'm willing to say it's too hard for him, so there's some things going on. Anyway, long story short, I'm by myself now with 5 kids. Who, you understand? It takes a real man to say, hey, let me help her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a little bit had to do with looks and all of that, because that, thank God, he was good looking, and he was all right, and I'm okay. And that part, played to play with it, but I don't think it would have. I think he would have married me regardless. I really do. And I appreciated that as a man. And his wife, and brought me into their home, welcomed me. Not like, oh, we're sleeping together, because that's retarded. That's stupid. Nobody. If he's talking about all 3 of y'all together, that's his own self desires. There's nothing.
Yep.
There's nothing honorable about that. There's nothing loyal about that. There's nothing good about that at all. None of it.
At all.
So, again, this is a real interesting conversation.
I just want y'all to think about it this way. Catch this visual right here.
Yeah. Tell me.
Imagine, right? Because the man is supposed to be the governor, or the head of the home. Imagine walking around, having all these bodies walking around with no head. Doesn't even look right. Doesn't look right, and that is what is happening in our homes. We have a bunch of families walking around with no head. No head. And it throws everything off, because I say all the time, ladies, y'all are the backbone of the family. As men, as the heads of the home, we can't do anything without you, because we are connected to the backbone. But the reality of it is that the backbone would not even function right, because the head brings stability to the backbone, so that it can operate the way that it's supposed to. Which is part of the reason why our communities look the way that they do. Again, this is not a hit on any single mothers or single fathers that are out there. You can only do what it is that you have the tools to do with. That is it. And y'all have been doing a great job with it, but it's still incomplete.
And it's a breakdown. Okay, so the thing about it, the thing about crazy is doing the same things expecting different results. This is not working for us. We're losing our children, we're losing our men, we're losing our families, we're losing our minds. We're out here losing women and men to suicide.
Yep.
It is what it is. To suicide, to drug abuse, to alcoholism, to pornography, to molestations, to, I mean, and the list goes on, to COVID. Okay, just the list of things. At this point in time, if you're not trying to repair or think anything's wrong with your family, because we're all dysfunctional. I want one family. I want one family. I want somebody to say, hey, I'm not. Let us be the role model. And but you can't get that here, because I think that that's not honest and authentic. I think that there's so much healing that has to do with it in us, our personally, that you have to find out first what your ailments are.
Yeah.
And look at yourself.
I'm gonna tell you, we're so dysfunctional that we don't even know how to display it on TV.
Yeah.
Because even the families that we see on TV are dysfunctional as well.
Depression. Mm-hmm.
I'm so serious. There is such a great necessity when it comes to this piece of it. This piece of it, because everything is out of whack. Everything is out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of balance, which is the reason why you have so many of us that are walking around that are underdeveloped, because we are missing pieces.
Underdeveloped and overstimulated.
Yes.
Overstimulated. Like, if everything gets you all bothered and you can't control you, man, go fast, go not eat some food and drink some water for a couple hours. Control yourselves. A lot of these men out here, and I'm sorry, King, y'all just I mean, control yourselves in predicaments that you don't always have to act out in. You understand?
But you wanna know why? Wanna know why?
Because women are controlling.
No, it's because that father wasn't there to teach them what respect really is.
True.
I said the mother teaches you how to love.
Mm-hmm.
The father is supposed to teach you how to respect. Period. Point blank. And we are missing those pieces. So you got it where you are in a club or you out in the street or something of that particular nature, and something goes wrong that is a simple excuse me or I apologize should be able to fix, and we keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't happen that way because we don't know the essence of what respect is, because that father wasn't there to teach it to us. So now we're fighting, we're shooting, and we're doing all this extracurricular stuff in the name of disrespect when it has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Nothing. That necessity is there. And trust and believe, I went through it. I'm not just talking about something that I see. I'm talking about something that I literally went through, because I was that joker. You stepped on my brand new pair of doggone Air Force Ones, it was going up.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you said sorry, excuse me, or anything of that particular nature. And next thing I know, I'm out here lashing out. Lashing out. Because I felt like I was being disrespected, and it had nothing to do with respect whatsoever. Whatsoever.
Again, the needs of a man and the needs of a woman are like Venus and Mars, right, King?
Yes,
Because a
ma'am.
woman is listening to him explain respect, and we're saying, yeah, we also would want respect, but we need stability and we need love. You know, and the same level of respect that he would need, we would need that back. And again, in a situation like bringing it back to what we were talking about, polygamy, and being able to apply what he's saying for our well-developed men who are out here really doing it. And then we're gonna need questions and feedback, but like really just opening up and saying, okay, if you do have a woman that's ready or wanting to talk about polygamy, and then you have a man, you know what I'm saying, and then another woman, his wife and stuff, well, I want to be able to talk about what that's going to look like as well. You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of I see a lot of people, you know what I mean? Everybody's gonna get ready to say something. I already know it. So,
Okay, so in reference to that, and I'm gonna say it this way because, like I said, we have different ideologies when it come down to this thing.
mhm,
But the one thing that I say that the Most High, the universe, or whatever you call your higher power, has given us is nature, and nature provides us with the method, even the reasoning behind it,
mhm.
even the reasoning behind it. So one of the biggest thing I think this was one of the questions that was in that was on the actual live feed that I went around because I didn't want to address it just yet. Still don't, but yeah, it is okay because I'm gonna go wherever it takes me, wherever it takes me. One of the questions that was asked while we was on the live feed as well as last week was in reference to being in the same home or whether we supposed to be in opposite homes.
Now, what are you talking about? Are we talking about a plural marriage where
Mhm.
there's two women and one man?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
somebody asked, what?
They wanted to know whether the wives had to be in the same home or whether they had to be in separate homes. But like I said, it goes based off of belief. But we're going to look at nature, okay? We're going to look at nature. As a man, as a man,
Mm-hmm.
my responsibility is, and this is
Right.
across the board, is
Mhm.
to provide and to protect.
Okay.
We're not going to look at the provide part just yet. We're going to look at the protect piece. In nature, just about every mammal,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say mammal, I'm not gonna say every species,
Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting my turn.
and within every species or whatnot, the lion has multiple lionesses,
Okay.
the gorilla has multiple mates, and even the cows have multiple mates.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't see is that lion running from one tribe to another tribe because he has a wife here and a wife there. They're all together.
True.
Why? Because he has the responsibility of protecting each and every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me as a man, I cannot, in all honesty, say that I can protect my wife that is on the south side and my wife that is on the north side effectively. Why? Because if I'm on the south side and something is going on the north side,
Right.
guess what? I'm out of place.
Mm-hmm.
I am out of place. It is impossible for me to fulfill my role, which is her responsibility, or not her responsibility, but my responsibility to her, which is to be able to protect her at all times. Not just her, but her as well as those children that is in the home. But again, what is taught to us is something completely different.
I love the concept. I love the concept. I'm gonna be very real in this. Um, I get it about the protection part, but that in polygamy is plays the part where the man has to figure that out. It is not a woman's responsibility,
No,
and
not
I'm
at all.
coming from an Islamic
Not at all.
point of view. So my answers are going to be Islamically based. I'm a Sunni Muslim, so I come from that aspect.
I
That
understand.
aspect gives us rules and regulations to polygamy. So there's a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. There's no woo about it for me. It's very cut and clear in Islam how you gonna do this, how this is gonna happen, and if it don't, the women you got rights just like the man has rights.
Exactly.
You don't get thrown away because you want to do something, you care about somebody. No, that's not gonna happen. So, King, what I'm saying is this. The concept is wonderful, and that's why men buy multiple properties. You understand? You buy like 2 acres. I know a lot of men that bought 2 acres, put a wife on 1 acre and another wife on another acre. But in Islam, a woman does not have to live in the house with the other woman as a source of accommodations for her lodging. She has the right to have her own accommodations and her own lodging as their price. What is it called? As their what is that called? Budget. See, I need a different type. You know what I'm saying? A different type. But as their budget calls for it. So, in all fairness, You could have two houses right next to each other on the same block. That'll be fine if you feel like you need to protect me to that extent.
So
But
sister wives, he owns a whole cul-de-sac.
yeah, but I'm saying that's the man's responsibility to figure that out. I'm not living with nobody so that he's appeased or he got a 10% off of his stress level because I'm living over there. I'm not going to be bothered because there are certain situations that happen in a home with couples that another woman don't need to see between a husband and a wife.
That, and oh, I agree with you there.
So there's,
I agree with you
but
there.
King, how many
But
times will you walk past your wife and she bent over cooking at the stove and you want to whip that ass real quick like
no,
God damn.
I
Now
do
mind
that.
you,
I do that.
and mind
I
you,
do
the
that.
other woman is walking past as you do that. Now her feelings is hurt for all night long. No, I've been there, done that. You can't tell me nothing about that.
I get that and I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am saying is that the primary
It
responsibility
is facts.
as a man is to protect.
Protect and provide.
I understand exactly what you're saying, and this is where compromise comes in now.
Yeah.
This is where compromise.
She can live
I'm not
right next
saying-
door to me.
I'm not saying that we all have to be in the same home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under the same doggone roof. But as a man, I need to ensure that you are close enough.
And then you got
To
some men,
where-
but then King, you got some men that I got some men got a wife overseas and a wife in America. That's very common. Some men don't feel that need.
Yeah.
And again, everybody's different in
Which
this.
is the reason why I'm talking about the nature.
Yeah,
of the
makes
thing.
sense. Yeah.
We go into the core of it,
Yeah.
so that everybody across the board can understand. I get it. I get it. From an Islamic standpoint, I come from the Hebrew standpoint.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, and for us, we can either be in the same house or we separate accommodation. It just literally depends. Literally depends.
And your situation.
I'm just yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm
that's
just
that's
talking
Islam
about
too.
The
It common
nature,
sense.
the nature of it, the nature of it. And there's some narratives that need to be changed because the reality of it is that we have people that practice these things, but it's not always practiced in the correct manner.
Oh, I've seen many of those.
And this is one of the things I don't want to just address it and show the necessity. I want to correct the issues that are there with it as well, which is the reason why I'm
That's
talking
serious.
about it from the natural standpoint. The natural standpoint, because this is what we have to look at. I'm not saying that, oh, y'all gonna live in the same house. No. When it came down to talking to my wife or whatnot, I said literally, I was gonna build one big house, and there were gonna be 4 houses around it that all were connected to the main house. That way, each and every last one of them have their own house. But it is close enough to me, for me to be able to get to,
Right.
and be able to protect them in any given moment.
I'm gonna take you to. I went to study overseas with my spiritual leader, and he taught me about a man. I love this man, and he just recently passed. So, that was a hard one. If I were to take you to his home, so he has his own quarters. That's one level, and then one wife has another level. That's her own quarter. She has a bedroom, a front room, a little kitchen in there. The other wife has another quarter on the same side, far away, but they're on the same level. He has his own quarters.
Exactly.
They come to his quarters, but they have their own quarters with their own families, and everybody's branched off. But the home is beautiful. The women all have separate quarters. Everybody's coinciding with their realities. You understand? And that's what's important. The families see their father every day. They see him.
Which is the other reason. I'm glad you said it.
It's
See,
true,
this-
though. That's what
I
I'm
like
saying.
how we flowing.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
true
how
though.
we flowing right
There's
now.
truth in it.
Because I also have a responsibility to my children as well.
And he sat with his oldest son, who was like 40, my age. We were up there, and he sat with him every day, or he's seen him every day in and out, because his families were connected, because his mom was there, and the other mother was there. So his other children was able to see him just as much, and they all literally. It was the respect. Again, it was the respect the women had for the man that kept the household going, because there was a lot of times when, my spiritual leader, he would just kind of sit out of it and he was so wise in how he dealt with polygamy. He would let them deal with it a lot, and he only inserted himself where he knew he had to. So again, wisdom comes with this too, King.
Very much so.
Wisdom.
I tell everyone
I gotta get some sandwiches. Hold on.
You must
I
be
got
a
you, sister.
master of balance.
Maybe you have
You
any
must be a
socks?
master of balance in order
And
to
a
be able to pull
t-shirt,
this off.
maybe?
Master of balance. But look though, we need to go ahead and pay a couple of bills. We're gonna take a quick, I say probably about a 5 minute break, then we're gonna come back with the final thoughts. And we're gonna pick this thing back up on Thursday. I assure you that, because there's some other stuff that needs to be broke down. We started laying the foundation, we're gonna finish laying it. But hey look, the king has spoken, we'll be right back. And we are back. The King's Court is officially back in session. We're gonna let things rock out for a little bit, or not, and then we're gonna flow into the final thoughts.
Make sure everybody sends Xfinity tons of emails.
Yes.
Overflow their email.
For everybody that is going through issues, make sure you send Xfinity some comments on you made me miss a good portion of all the gems that King Queen was actually putting out there in reference
And
to this
Latina can call and
conversation.
get a credit.
Thank you. We
That's
need
up
the
to business.
Thank
That
you. We
is
are
it.
gonna call and get a credit.
That is it. We supposed to be getting a gigabyte, and we getting what, 1 point?
We're getting 10 megabits per second.
See how they do
It's
see
on
how
the
they do
dollar.
us? FYI.
Never here playing us. I already know what it is, though. They don't want this conversation to get out.
They really don't.
I don't want to get it out. You know what now? Because contrary to popular belief, what we're talking about, we're not talking about a man with a bunch of marriage certificates. This is not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about covenant
There shouldn't even be a certificate.
agreements.
It's a religious practice. So why is the government involved?
Exactly.
That's another discussion.
Because of the minorities are the ones that practice polygamy.
Yep.
Because somebody else will tell you, I want 1.2 kids exactly, a half of a white. I mean, people out here with weird numbers. But the reality
I
is,
want a whole
majority.
kid and a paraplegic.
Yeah, how about that? But the reality is, at the end of the day, it's practiced all over the world.
Yep.
And because we don't know about it, don't make
On
us look
every
ignorant. You know what I'm
continent.
saying? Everybody practices polygamy, where men are taking on
even in
multiple
your
wives.
Bible.
So it's been going on for generations. It's nothing new. It's just a new conversation we're bringing in a different way, I guess, a different manner.
Yep.
You know?
And that is it. And there is nothing new under the sun. What we are talking
not
about
scary.
is nothing that is new. It's new to us, but it's not new to this world whatsoever. Or not. I watched it while I was overseas in Kuwait, Afghanistan, Iraq. I've seen it or not. And I met some of the princes over there that had multiple. And I ain't talking about one or two. I'm talking about quite a few. But conversation again is the necessity.
The necessity to have more than one wife in America.
Yes, the necessity. We talked about the need for fathers,
In the home.
active fathers being in the home, being able to correct some of the things that are going on within our communities.
That's one. I think another one is financially. A lot of us single women that are out here and we're building our queendoms and we out here becoming independent and fierce and making a lot of money is realizing we need help.
Yep.
It's overwhelming.
So you brought up the economic piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to talk about this for a second. I talked about it briefly at the book release party on Thursday in reference to it when I was trying to lay the foundation as a culture for us melanated people. Part of the reason why we see some of the things that we actually go through is because we are not an international commodity. That is part of the reason why, although we was very, very upset, the Asian community was able to, once something went wrong with them, where they were attacked due to racial issues, they were able to submit a bill and have that bill passed into law on the first try. Why? Because they are an international commodity. They have something that this country actually needs, that they have the ability to be able to say that if you don't correct this right here, we're going to cut this off. And it would have hurt them. I ain't talking about going to war or anything of that nature. I'm talking about it would have hurt them financially. This is the reason why when COVID first took place or whatnot, seeing everybody buying up all this toilet tissue and all this sanitizer and everything else, because we import more than we export. Everything that we have in this country, I can literally, what I have on right now, if I pull the tag, it's gonna say either made in Taiwan, made in Africa, made in China, something of that particular nature.
All of that was by design. The
Yeah.
economic breakdown of communities as well. There's just a lot going into it. I mean, when you're talking about polygamy, when you take out the emotional aspect of it, ladies, and men as well, you know, there are some men that are just monogamous. I don't hardly know any. I don't know where they're hiding, but they're out there. But anyway, is once you take out the emotional aspect about polygamy, you could then start looking at it logically, from a logical point of view. Like, okay, I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna ever agree upon it because I'm not gonna understand it because I'm made to just be with one person. So I can't understand what it's like for a person that wants to be with, you know, that was made to be with multiple people, how they think it's just not gonna happen. I can put myself in his shoes. I can try to relate, but overall I'm still a woman and I'm coming from what I know, right? Yeah. So in saying that, the point is this, is that when we're going into this, King, as you know, a lot of this is you're breaking generational curses when you talk about changing the way you think,
yep.
changing the way you handle situations, changing the way you look at situations, right? Yep. And so, again, that's starting with you, yep. You know, looking at your process, saying, I keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. This is not working for me. So when you start analyzing yourself like that, then you can look at something like this without the emotion and say, all right, you know, I definitely don't want to share my man, but I'd rather know where he's at Michelle's house. You know what I'm saying? What he doing with Michelle, because he ain't gonna be doing that much. And I can call Michelle or I can call him, and that's later. Those are later conversations when you get to that point. But it does happen a lot. And find out where he is, or find out what you need to know, or get the help that you need.
Yep, exactly.
So there's, you know, going into this conversation as well, like I said, ladies, for a few minutes, and I'm not saying leave them out long, because you know we like our feelings, but stay out of them for a second. Let's just jump into the logical aspect of the fact that it is better, and myself, I'll take me as an example, that I had a man in my home for my 5 children, even though it wasn't the father, but he had a lot of the characteristics of my children's father. So it really was a blessing. So, and I was a second wife for that. I had to stay there and humble myself for that. I had to get right with God real quick for that. Again, she let me come in her family with 5 kids. You understand? So again, you know, wow. You know, this says a lot. These women out here are magnificent. We are just, I mean, imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a first wife as well, so I had to bring somebody into my home and and look past the emotional aspect. Ladies, you're gonna fall back on it, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to at some point come out of your feelings.
I know.
You have to.
I know I can't tell y'all ladies how you feel, but from the outside looking in, I think part of the reason why it's hard for some women to accept is because we have been conditioned that monogamy is the only way. It's the only way. You have some women out there that literally would do it, but for fear of how society, their friends, family, and things of that particular nature would look at them.
True.
They choose
to be a side woman.
Yes.
And they're happy with it. Like it. But the thing about it is, they just want the stability, the security. A lot of women don't want to sleep with multiple men. We don't. A lot of times, a lot of us that are goal oriented don't even have the time to be with men or to even find relationships. Like, I'm horrible in my relationship life because I'm so busy, King. Like, I don't have time to sit and develop and grow and nurture a relationship right now. I want to work. I want to establish my queendom. Yeah. But if I get a man that's already seasoned, see, he knows what that means. You know what I'm saying? He already know what that means. So I don't have to say a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know when I need something. If if you a grown man, you're gonna know. And then at that point, you can see the necessity, for polygamy if you're a second wife.
How crazy is it that it is okay to be a mistress, a side piece, or a baby mama versus a
A wife.
A wife.
A wife.
I just want y'all to think about that for a second. How crazy is it that it is accepted to be a baby mama, a mistress, or a side chick versus a wife?
Hmm.
We hear it all the time. We see it on television. We hear it in our music. We even have whole songs out there talking about being side pieces.
Whole songs. And a whole bunch of women with no clothes dancing to them.
Yes.
Dancing to them, supporting it. So our girls are looking at this saying, it's okay for me to be a side piece, but if I talk about equality and rights, then I'm playing myself. I'm this, I'm that. You know, I'm this, I'm that. That's unfair.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, you know, we're saying that it's a very difficult conversation.
Very much so.
That's what I'm gonna say. But to give it its all fairness and its all rightly due, we just have to be respectful of the fact that a lot of times as women, I'm just gonna keep referring back to this, we have to get out of our emotions in order to see the logic of this. Just for a little bit and then go back to your emotions. But we have to definitely get out of the feelings when we're talking about the logic. So, in saying that, King, the conversation for Thursday is going to be, let me guess.
We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep laying the foundation. And like I said, we're going to build this house. And so that there is an understanding. Because like you said, Queen, is a matter of breaking generational curses, changing the thought process, and changing how things are actually viewed. Period. Across the board, changing the narratives. Well, that is what we are here for. And quite frankly, that is my final thoughts.
Ain't nothing else to say.
That is my final thoughts. You already know. Like I said, Can I Be the Man? The letter from us to you. The book, ebook, as well as the audio is now out. The audio is out. You need to go and get it. And look, the audio piece, I listen to it just about every day. There are things in there that is not in that book. You're gonna want to get that. I'm so serious.
Okay.
I'm so serious. But hey, make sure you like, follow, and share the Frequency CO. The Frequency CO.
Please.
That way we can continue with this conversation. We assure you, we're gonna figure out what the issue is with this internet, so that on Thursday,
we're calling and fussing people out. I'm calling. I'm mad.
We need y'all to back us up on that. All right, but hey, look, King's Court is officially out of session. Coffee and Cream Morning Show coming up next.
Hang out with us.
My man Gaddafi just walked in.
Party started.
Did his thing, hosting my book release.
Oh, he did. Shout out to everybody. Okay, can we get a few minutes? Okay, can we get a few minutes for the party, book release party? We were up in there. It was really a nice night. Shout out to Club Tilt and everybody over there. Tony Exum Jr.
How do you drop panties
off
of
a saxophone? He was killing the saxophone, and everybody was like, how many Y's he got? How many Y's he wrote?
I'm sitting here looking like I gotta go after this.
I'm done. That's how I felt. I said, I'm not standing behind Tony. He's doing too much. So, but shout out to Tony Exum Jr. for real, for coming through for us. He always does. I mean, we love him. His music, world-renowned saxophone. He was just at your book signing. It was so awesome. We talked a little bit about the book. A lot of people came through. We appreciate it. It was a real nice night.
Yeah, it definitely was. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Looking forward to doing it again.
Here, guys, this is the conversation. We're going to keep it live at Club Tilt too. We'll let you know this month what day we're having it, but it's really just us coming together and having an open conversation, dialogue about what we're doing here. We do that on a broader scale, bigger deal. We're at a club,
and we gonna keep it grown and sexy.
We do, yeah. No kids allowed, because that's what happens. Kids get made. Every conversation like this.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. We out. And we out. The King has spoken. We'll see you on Thursday.